Morning steps in, 8,000's been the goal every day, but we're gonna push up to 10K this week just so we can get a little bit more and start pushing a little bit faster. 8K's been easy. I want to drop these kilos a little bit faster now, so we go home, get into Brekky, and then get into our day. All right, that's our morning steps done. 8,000 clocked in. I will get another 2,000 throughout the day, just walking around the house, doing bits and bobs. I found that in the first week, like if I just don't get it done first thing in the morning, it just won't get done the whole day. So making that the new routine, wake up, go straight out, walk around the park, do a few laps, get my 8,000 steps in, and then I'm done. I don't have to worry about any more activity throughout the day, other than lifting, of course. But yeah, steps is done. We'll make a coffee, decaf. Unfortunately, obviously since that seizure, I have not been able to really do caffeine. It wigs me out, it gives me like crazy anxiety. Like never ever have I had that before. Like I love coffee, love caffeine, always have, but yeah, since that little incident, just hasn't sat right with me. So we'll make a decaf coffee, sit in the sun, plan out what I'm doing today, which is just a bit of filming, a couple client things. I might call a client after lunchtime, and then we'll make some brekky, and then yeah, carry on with the day. Back for brekky, super simple. We're just gonna do protein oats. So simple as oats, whey protein, peanut butter, and frozen blueberries today, I think. Once we're done this, we'll go back to do a block of work. Then I'll have a snack before I train. And then after training, we can do lunch, a bit more work, and then dinner in the afternoon. So I like to delay my breakfast, do all of this stuff in the morning, just because I find that, especially when I'm dieting, like if you're so restricted with calories, as soon as I eat, I feel hungry throughout the day. So if I can just delay that first meal, it makes it a bit easier to get through, most of the day without eating. And then I've got more calories to spare throughout the afternoon. And yeah, I've always done it in the past, so why not stick with it if I know it works? Don't muck around with it. Scoop of protein. Usually just put in a dash of almond milk just to help mix it around. Hate that feeling when it's super grainy. Just taste the protein, so a little bit of almond milk. Give it a good mix. We go peanut butter on the scale, and then we go on 20 grams of peanut butter. Usually about 75, 80 grams of blueberries. Nothing fancy about it. I usually try to have this every day, just because it's routine, keeps it simple. But we'll finish this bowl, go back, do a bit of work, get our pre-training meal, or snack really. Train, lift weights. Today I think is pull day. I've just been running pull, push, legs, a couple rest days in between. Actually went to the gym for the first time, like a gym, not just working out in the garage the other day with Sean, and it was so good, man. Like I forgot how much I missed just, lifting with machines, using cables. It gives you a different feeling, man. Oh, I'm so excited to get my license back and get back to the gym. It'll be so good. But it's been a good week training in the garage gym. Just getting confident, doing things again, kind of finding my limits, which has been interesting, like even just from the start of the week to the end of the week. I think I mentioned in that video the other day, it's about how like I would get so lightheaded after like 2-3 exercises and I just have to call it a day. And I'm just not sure if that's that mental, mental wall where I'm nervous or my body's, a bit fatigued or whatever, whether it's the drugs, whether it's the AVM thing or whatever the hell's going on. It's just my body saying like, hey, don't push it. Or if it's just because I haven't lifted or done anything for like, 4 months now, that I'm just weak, just don't have the capacity to do more. So going from that first couple sessions to the end of the week, and then even now coming into this week, just how much better I feel lifting. Obviously we're not lifting a lot of weight, but at least, doing supersets, getting a little bit of a pump, doing a little bit more, and then going to the gym and doing it in the gym, just feeling semi-normal, good, getting a pump, getting a sweat on. I felt so much better. So I'm excited to sign up to a gym again, get back into a routine. Can't wait to get my license back so I can drive again. Feel trapped in the house, but it is what it is. All right, before we get into training, let's kind of run over my nutrition strategy, my calorie targets, what I'm gonna do, over these next few weeks, couple months, as I keep getting leaner. If you guys don't know, I have done, aggressive dieting in the past. I've got lean enough to jump on stage. I've done a couple physique competitions. I know, what it's like to diet hard. It's just been a long time. So I don't want to get straight into dieting like that. I don't want to be so rigorous in my approach. I want to be a little bit more, a bit more reserved. I want to take it a little bit easier to start, and then generally I know that as I get into it, as I get into the rhythm, I will, get more confident with it. I'll feel a lot better. I'll be in the routine. I can start pushing the intensity as we sort of get further into the dieting phase. But I know my, maintenance calories was probably going to be about the 2,700, 2,800 calorie mark. So that's generally where I wanted to start, eating at around that sort of number. But even before I focused on the total calorie target, I just said, every day I want to hit 200 grams of protein. Simple as that. I know that if I eat 200 grams of protein, my calories will generally be at around that 2,800 calorie mark. Just because, by eating more protein, especially from where I was at the start, I'm going to be too full to eat any of the shit around it. So that's what we did for the first week. 200 grams of protein every day. And then generally, I don't eat to a meal plan, but I'm pretty good at eating the same thing every day. So brekky, lunch, snack, and post-workout snack. I'm pretty good at eating the same thing every day, and that's kind of what I did for the first week. You sort of saw this morning, we had that protein oats. I would have some sort of carbs before I train, some simple carbs. I would eat a lunch with, simple meat, whether it's mince or rissoles, something like that, with rice, veggies for lunch, and then, like a protein shake or something after I work out as well. So that would be my general day. And then every night, every dinner, I would have something different. My partner will come home from work. She enjoys something different every night. So we'll make that our meal that is, changing throughout the week. To make that work, you just make sure that whatever calories you have left in the day, you tweak that meal to make sure it suits my calories. And it worked, for this first week. I can feel myself getting a bit leaner, about a kilo down or so already in the first week. And it's working for me. Coming into week 2, all we're gonna do is to now focus on the calorie number. So first week was only protein number I was only really worried about. I was flexible in my calorie approach. Now we're gonna make sure 2,800 calories is the maximum. And then I'll just, have the 200 gram protein as the daily goal. Carbs and fats, I'm always flexible. I don't mind. It'll change day to day depending on what we do. And then especially on the weekends, we'll have a bit of a different approach with what we do there. Monday to Friday is always going to be in that sort of routine. Saturday and Sunday, we might, go to a cafe, or we might go to a restaurant, or we might have takeout or whatever. And that's where you'll see me kind of miss some of my meals, or I might take out some of my carbs, take out some of my fats and stuff from my morning, lunchtime. And then it gives me a bit more freedom to have that takeout or have whatever, and I'll just make sure that the calories sort of match up. And if I need to have, 1.5, 2 times the scoops of protein that I would normally have, then I'll have that just to get that number up. But that's kind of my approach for now. If you're experienced in counting your calories and you can do something similar, then I recommend that approach. It keeps every day fairly similar, and then you get something different every night. It works well for me, so we'll keep doing that. It's about time to train. Let's go have some carbs quickly, get my electrolytes, creatine, and then we'll get into it. We got electrolytes, creatine. At the moment, we're just going with plain creatine, doesn't matter the brand. Been using Dr. Hydrolite. It's all right, not my favorite. I think I prefer Trainaid. Yeah, Trainaid, I think it just tastes a bit better. This just tastes a bit sweet for my liking, but it's all same really, isn't it? I used to have electrolytes every day when I was training before my seizure thing, because I was sweating so much, going to jiu-jitsu, when I was doing a bit of CrossFit, or even my running when I did my marathon last year. I was sweating so much that it just made sense to have electrolytes every day. And then obviously once I stopped working out as much, it didn't really make sense to have it every day, because I was probably getting enough salt and stuff from my meals and stuff every day. But then After the seizure, I started getting like these weird, sorry. So after the seizure, I started having like this weird muscle twitching, muscle spasms, I guess you call it. And it's never the same. Like it might be in my left side of my face and then my right tricep and then my left quad and whatever. It was always changing. And I thought it was maybe related to the AVM or related to the drugs, to the anti-seizure meds. But I asked the specialist and they just said like, oh, it might be, it might not be, there's no way to know. But they said, you know, maybe just start having more electrolytes, or maybe your balance is off with the drugs or something. So I've been doing it most days now, and it's still twitches, just not as bad. But anyway, if you live in Australia and you train most days, like I definitely recommend probably having some electrolytes. Or if you know you train to perform, if you do sport, if you do things, or if you're a heavy sweater, like I'm a pretty heavy sweater when I train, so I reckon probably have your electrolytes most days that you train. But then on non-training days, you probably don't need to. Probably waste of money. I'll eat this, drink a little bit of this, and then we will get into training. All right, pool day. So I recorded a session last week. Obviously that was the baby session. That was kind of me just getting back into it. Feeling much better now, and especially after going to the gym, you know, going to the gym on the weekend with Sean, I just feel more confident to do some of these exercises. So we are starting with our warm-up. You know, do a bit of band work, do a bit of light stretching, a little bit of core. Just move, get, you know, heart rate up a little bit, get some blood flowing. Session last week, obviously a super light session, so it's going to be similar, but now obviously a bit more confident. I'll be able to lift a little bit more weight. We'll try to superset some stuff as well, just to keep, you know, work rate up. Trained legs yesterday. Still obviously nothing crazy heavy, but it's just good to be, you know, getting a bit of a pump. Doing some of the main exercises again. I did some RDLs, lunges, things like that, which I haven't done for a while. Next time I go to the gym, I might try to do a leg session so that I can use the machines, you know. All right, warm up set. We'll do our pullovers. Let's get into it. From dumbbell pullovers to scat pull-ups. Yeah, we're just focusing on stretch. Nice long stretch down, engage, pull up and squeeze. Long stretch, move the shoulders and squeeze. Is feeling way better than last week. I think last week I only built up to like 15 kilos, but that was 20, 3 sets of 12. Feeling way better, you know, not straining too hard, which is the goal, but still feel like, you know, I'm getting enough fatigue in there. But now we'll move on to pull-ups. So same as last week. Last week I was only doing, you know, those banded ones, didn't feel too good. Today we might test a couple without the band. If it feels like too much, we'll just go back to banded, but we'll see how we go. Oh, that's all right. We'll go banded. So yeah, an improvement from last week. That's 3 bodyweight pull-ups, 5 banded pull-ups, chin-ups, whatever you're gonna call it. Underhand grip, which means obviously more bicep being used, but for now, I think that's fine. Not too light-headed, which is cool. So we'll stick to that. We'll try it again. We'll do 3 sets total. I'll try for 3 unassisted, 5 with the band, 3 sets total. All right, that's training done. Nice fast session, definitely improving from last week. Definitely feel a fatigue, so probably due for a rest day soon. But overall felt good, lifting that a little bit heavier. Exercise is feeling a lot better, you know, feeling that sort of muscle connection I haven't felt in a while. Had a couple supersets at the end to get a bit of a rear delt pump, a couple bicep in there too, which felt really good. Let's go eat lunch, a little bit more work, and then I'll show you what we do for dinner. Lunch is pretty simple. It's just leftover lunch from yesterday, so already cooked, just need to heat it up. Not bad, not bad. Easy as that. 150 grams rice, about 200, 220 grams of beef meatballs, tomato, cucumber. That's lunch. And there we have it, the new daily routine. Every morning, wake up, get these steps done nice and early. Brekky, lunch, pre-training snack, post-training snack. Always gonna be the same for me. Don't have to worry about what I gotta do for shopping. It keeps it simple. I don't have to overthink about what I wanna eat each day. And then every dinner, we change it up, cook something different, and then whatever I've left over, if I have anything left over from dinner, then we'll have a supper meal, whether it's yogurt, oatmeal, protein shake, something like that. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you learned a couple things. See you in the next video.